Hi guys, welcome back to the pantry. Today I'm going to do some canning and introduce you to one of our favorite things of the season. My husband is an avid chukar hunter, and for some parts of the country, I guess you guys don't have chukar. We are blessed with this partridge that was transplanted from Pakistan, and it does very well in our desert environment, and they're delicious. And so, usually I freeze them, and you have to really keep a watch on them because just like any other poultry, they're really only good in the freezer for about 3 months. So, that being said, I decided, well, if I can it, I can get a 2-year shelf life out of it. Not that they have ever lasted that long. But this is 10 pounds of chukar meat. I weighed it. My husband said it's probably 7, no, 10. And that is 26 birds. So we do not just breast them and throw the rest away. We actually, the legs are my favorite. So we do keep the legs and thighs. And I'll do another video when they have a big run like this again. 26 birds is great for the 2 of these guys. And they like the chili verde that I sent with them so much that they asked me if I would can up some chukar dishes for them to take camping with them. So the first one I'm going to do for you is one of our family's favorites, and it's chukar picante. But you can do this with chicken or pork, either one, or probably even turkey. So I don't want you to think because you don't have chukar you can't do this. So what I've got is my enamel cast iron here is heating up. I had some oil already in there. I want to make sure that it didn't burn, so I turned it down while I was getting ready. And I'm not going to cook all this meat off because if I cook all of it, I won't be able to make my next dish. So I figured I would use about half of it on this dish and half of it on the next one, which I'm going to do. It will be the chili verde version of chukar. So you just want to brown the meat. I've got it all boned and pretty much bite-sized pieces. It's not a gamey bird at all. I mean, I think it has excellent flavor. This one that needs to be cut. And we might want to do this in batches. We'll have to see. I don't want to really sweat or boil, steam the meat. I want to brown it. So while that's going, I'll take you over and I want to add some salt and pepper. You don't need much seasoning because the picante sauce that I'm going to use has tons of seasoning in it. But I'm going to make sure that we get a good layer. So I'll take you over to the other side of the kitchen and we'll show you what goes in the sauce. Alright, so while the first batch of chukar meat is actually browning off, I'm going to put 1 large onion diced in the bowl. This is a super easy recipe. If you want to do it just for a quick night meal, oh my gosh, I go to this all the time with chicken or chukar just because it is easy and it's good enough to serve guests. So, actually it's excellent. I've got 2 38-ounce bottles of paste picante sauce. Now this is just the original, so it's mild. It's pretty mild in flavor. I'm just going to dump those in. Because we've got 5 pounds of meat, we want to make sure we have plenty of sauce. Now this camping trip, let's see. We had a jar of salsa open in the refrigerator, and my husband decided that he would open a new one to take with him. So, well, I'm going to throw it in there. I just know that we're not going to eat all that, and if I don't, get that done, it'll go to waste. And that was a lot of hard work, and all these vegetables were out of my garden. So, a can of diced green chilies. This is optional. I've done it very simply with just paste, mustard, and brown sugar. And that's the basis of the recipe. Now I will have to taste this, make sure we get the right sweetness and all that. And let's see. I need some yellow mustard. I know this sounds really like an odd mixture of yellow mustard and brown sugar. So this is my homemade brown sugar. There's about a half a cup in there. I'm going to add the whole thing. If it was like a regular sized jar of paste picante sauce, it's 3 tablespoons of brown sugar and 3 tablespoons of mustard. So, it's not hot and spicy, it's spicy and sweet, if that makes sense to you. And then I need the mustard, so I'm going to eyeball. And then we'll see if I have enough. I may need a bigger bowl because I'm going to have to put the meat in here. I need a giant clear bowl so you guys can see what's going on, I guess. And it kind of, you'll get to know the color. I made this recipe a while back, I believe, back when I first started. But I have never canned it, so this will be a new experience for canning. I've canned chukar, and I've canned picante sauce, and I've canned, so why can't I do it together? And you wouldn't want to put the meat in here raw. When I do it in the oven, I put it in here raw, but for canning purposes, I want to brown the meat. So I'm going to get a bigger bowl, I apologize, and I will grab the first batch of meat and get it in here. I've got the second batch of chukar over here on the stove, browning off, and I have a pretty good idea on this pot how much will make 7 quarts. And because I'm doing it a little bit different today than normal, I'm going to, first I want to taste it a little bit, see how I'm doing here. It's really good. Very good. I'm going to add some tomato juice because when I put it in the jars, I'm going to put some uncooked black beans in here. And I want to make sure it's saucy enough, if that makes sense to you. So what will happen is I will have cooked rice for them that they can take with them. And then all they have to do really, because the rice is cool enough this time of year, everything is fine in their coolers. They can, yeah, that's going to be great. They can actually just heat this up with the Dutch oven liner and serve it over the rice, and I'm putting all the components in here instead of separately. The other component that I have for the dish is corn, and I get the organic super sweet corn from Costco in the big bags. I mean, when you can't get fresh corn in the wintertime, you might as well utilize. Alright, you guys, I'm back, and I have to tell you, I tasted it, and it's got that sweet, picante flavor, sweet and spicy, but I think it needs a little bit more, just because I did add a quart of water and that big thing of tomato juice. So I'm adding, actually, there's 4 teaspoons of my homemade garlic powder, and, let's see. And I want to add well, not even a half a teaspoon, honestly, of the habanero powder. You can get it too hot with just a tiny bit, but if you realize one of these peppers ground up is just probably a pinch of powder. So you got to be careful, which is good. A little bit goes a long ways. We like that. And then I've got my serrano peppers in this jar, so I'm going to add a heaping teaspoon. Maybe a level teaspoon. I don't want to scare anybody. I just want some heat in there to add with that sweet spice. And then I'm ready to jar these up. This is all heated through. It's nice and hot. And I'll show you how I do that. I'm excited to add the black beans to the whole mix. Alright. Grab a couple of my jars that are over here in the sink full of hot water. Anyway. So what I'm going to do is grab, probably want about 2 tablespoons per jar of black beans. These have been rinsed, but they have not been par cooked or anything, so. And they're going to absorb some of that liquid. They're also they're going to help thicken everything up with the starch that they rinse. So that's a good thing. And you just jar it up, just like usual. Nice hot mix of goodies. It's going to be delicious. With the corn and everything. Now, I won't fill it to a half an inch or an inch of head space because we got to let those beans expand, if that makes sense. So I'm going to come just shy of that, or try to. Doesn't look like I did. Let's see, I'll grab a hot. Grab a spoon and take out some of that chukar meat. Maybe that'll help. There we go. So right about where the neck starts bending is where I'd want it. If I get it any higher than that, I risk my jars actually failing. And you work too hard, wow, to get. Well, I'll be darned, I cannot take this thing. There we go. I'm going to make sure there's no air. I want to get those beans mixed throughout a little bit. So they don't just stick to the bottom. If that makes sense. Wipe my rim off really good. Grab my magnet. Get a lid on. Finger tight. And put it in the pressure canner. Isn't that pretty? It's going to be delicious too. Alright, hot, hot, hot. Quit playing with the hot stuff. Alright, I'm going to get the rest of these jarred up and I'll bring you back when we're all. I am excited. Oh my gosh, it's still boiling in the jar, but I didn't exceed the mark with the black beans being in there. I'm really excited to try this because black beans, if you look at any recipe, it says to cook them for about an hour and a half. Well, these processed in a pressure canner, so they pressure cooked basically for an hour and a half, which was way more than enough time. They are beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I just am very excited. So 7 quarts of chukar picante sauce to go over rice. And I'm probably, I have to tell you, I've gotten a couple personal messages to make rice. Noreen had that same thing happen. So I said something about making rice and somebody said, can you please make a rice video? And I basically do it the same way, but maybe they don't subscribe to her. So I'm going to do it when I make my brown rice for this. I will choose a jasmine rice or brown rice 9 times out of 10, but I like really good white fluffy rice too. So you guys, I hope this inspires you. There's 7 quarts of this sauce. The bounty from my husband's hunting trip is in these jars, and they'll enjoy them on their trips, and we'll get to enjoy some here at home too. And so I'm so thankful to the Lord for this, and I hope it truly inspires you that you can do this. You can make your own fast food. This is fast food my way. All right, YouTube, I'll see you next time. God bless.